Thanks for joining us.
Talkline Network Radio, America's longest-running Jewish broadcast network, the voice of the Jewish community.
Welcome to the podcast. You are now tuned in to this episode of our podcast. Today we are going to interview some of the greatest and most influential minds in our field. And now, please welcome your host.
You're listening to Talkline with Zev Brenner, America's premier Jewish broadcast on the air since 1981.
Welcome back to the program. I'm Zev Brenner. In the last number of years, there's been a growth of Jewish business expos where people have been coming in to network and get different industries. And one of the leaders is POWWOW. Our guest right now is Joe Wolh. He is a CEO, and he likes to call himself the Chief Coffee Officer of POWWOW, where they run 10 events or more each year. So welcome to the program. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Zev. Since 1981, huh?
Since 1981, we've been around. Yes, we've been around the block.
Yeah, that's a while ago.
And we don't drink coffee.
Okay. Well, it's kept me going since 1981. So
So in the last number of years, as I said at the onset, I noticed a lot of Jewish business activity where you have lots of different events and real estate, especially in home care and healthcare, et cetera. What happened 3 years ago post-COVID that we're seeing an explosion of these networking events that seem to be growing? And I'm glad about it, but I'm just wondering what spurred it. What made you decide 3 years ago that you want to go into this realm?
and Zev, is this a series you said exploring the trade shows, or is this just
we do cover business topics, so I do want to explore it. I'm fascinated by it. I love it. I love the idea. And we went from one food show to now the 2 kosher food shows a year, and you have lots of real estate events, which weren't really existing prior to maybe 3-4 years ago. The event that we're seeing today, we're seeing a lot of it, and they're packed. People are coming.
Yeah. So to answer your question, I mean, I'm not sure if it changed significantly, but it's certainly progressing, and I think social media might have something to do with it. The fact that people are more out there and doing the networking thing, which everything is virtual now, but and then it's just coming back to the old just trade show. That was the original social media, right? You went out to a trade show if you wanted to network with business contacts. I'm not sure what it is, but we started because we were in the Amazon world, and I was very active in the Amazon event scene, and that's how we got into it. So for us, it was kind of an outgrowth of what we were already doing, going to events and helping plan events.
You mentioned virtual, but it's so hard to network when you look at somebody in the eye and shake their hands and talk to them. Even doing it over a Zoom, it's not the same effect. And I've done Zoom events, and I go to a lot of these expos, and there's a different dynamic. And I think it's much better for business when you're seeing somebody face to face.
Yeah, listen, some people should not be going face to face. They should stay behind their computer.
I'm not even sure they should be on Zoom either.
Yeah, they should turn their camera off. No, you have to, we deal with a lot of different companies at this point, a lot of different people. Companies are people, and some people don't do well, and they're not cut out for it. They're getting advice, you got to go to shows. No, don't go to shows. Keep on doing, Google ads. That's working for you. Like the minute you speak to people, it's not for you. Or maybe have other people join you for shows. So you need to be a certain type. Obviously, it's not, exactly for pure introverts.
No, but if you want to grow your business and you have either as an exhibitor or just walking around and making the content, I talk to a lot of the people that go to these shows, and they're making connections and contacts and picking up business by going to these places. And and by the way, when you're virtual, you're talking to a person directly. When you're walking around the show, you never know who you're going to bump into or who's going to come over and talk to you. That is a business prospect.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, there is the education side of it. Many shows have, content, and usually they're given by industry leaders. So there's an opportunity to connect there. And even, I would say, even introverts I see them. I used to do this, the speaking and stuff, and people come over after and have questions. And and it's a great way to connect and to build. And of course, there's the trade side where if there's a trade show aspect to the event, people are walking the booths and making conversations and picking up new vendors and services and products, and it's certainly has got way more pros than cons
Yes.
for most. Yeah.
Now you're of course, in the Jewish business marketplace. Is real estate the most dynamic, or the one that gets the most people that attend
Yeah,
the
it's interesting. It's interesting because we're not necessarily, just a Jewish. We're not a Jewish specific event business. Like we, for most of our events, we don't. Obviously, we do kosher catering, and you're always gonna find a minion and someone put filling on you. But it's not. We're not only looking right in the Jewish. So many of our shows are greatly diversified. You have some from 10 to sometimes 50%. Our upcoming home care show is probably 50% not Jewish at all. So
What do you think on Jewish, as far as vendors or attendees, or both?
both, yeah.
Well, you call yourself POWWOW, which is a generic English term. It's not a Jewish sounding name, but
Yeah,
the
so
events have a lot of the from people coming.
of course. I mean, that is our community. We're very proud of our community, and listen, if that's all we have, 100% of it, awesome. But you definitely have to expand and always have an eye on growth. But you were asking, in the Jewish world, is real estate? Is that what you asked? Is
No,
real estate
you're doing different shows. Is real
right?
estate the most dominant, the most popular, the one that gets the most people attending?
So real estate for us is so we have two shows in real estate. We have the real estate show, and we just had the construction show. Across the board, Jewish communities, real estate is very strong, and construction. A lot of different shows are specific to specific communities. Home care happens to be the Jewish side of it. A lot of Hasidim in New York are in home care. You go to healthcare nursing homes. You're talking about a lot of Lakewood people, Chicago. So there are different sectors that are somehow they've become specialized in a certain industry. But yeah, I mean, real estate and construction. I would say real estate, construction, healthcare is just top. Used to be Amazon and e-commerce, but that's fizzled out quite a lot.
You mean Amazon has fizzled out in general, or in the from community?
Well, in general, they're growing, I guess, but in the
They
from
are growing,
community, the from community, it's definitely fizzled out a lot. Yeah.
Because used to be, when it came to New York, I think a good percentage, heavy percentage of Amazon dealers were Orthodox. It's been written up in major media.
Oh, I know, absolutely, absolutely. From the very beginning, a nice percentage were from Orthodox, but and it's growing like crazy. And at this point, it's certainly changed a lot in the last couple of years.
Now, what are some of the challenges of running some of the different shows? And you do 10 a year. Some I'm sure do better than others. How do you get people to come? What are your challenges that you have putting it together?
I mean, our challenges is doing 10 a year. That's our challenge. I mean, when we got into this,
like every month and a half on the average, yes.
And then we started a new division where we're doing private, like corporate events, which we did the Trump event in July. So we started doing private events, and that's just a whole other dynamic there. So yeah, the challenge is definitely chasing our tails. That's the number one challenge.
No, I could imagine it's hard doing it like an average every month and a half and getting people to come. And do you find that the same people come every year? Is it a whole bunch of new people? Is it a mix? So I spoke to one of these shows that was thinking of taking a hiatus and not doing it one year. And I told him I thought it was a bad idea. It'd be hard to pick up the pieces again after a year of not doing a show. So I wanted to check with you. Are you finding that a good percentage of people are returnees every year to the same show?
Yeah, I mean, you would hope that a solid 50+% want to return, right? You're always going to have people changing industries, changing jobs, not being in town, being busy, hopefully with good things. But yeah, if if you have 100% turnover, that's not good.
Right.
Yeah, for the most part, that's one of the advantages of going out there, whether you're a vendor or an attendee, is it's a cycle, right? It builds up. You got to go, and then you got to go again, and years fly. I mean, the years fly, and your business grows, and you certainly want to be in touch with the same people. But as a company, we want to make sure we're always growing and bringing in new people. So
Now you want that
that's
mix, no question about that.
yeah.
Now tell us, you have 10 different shows. I mentioned real estate and healthcare. What are some of the other shows that you do?
Oh, well, we've got home care coming up next week, actually. That's for home care agencies. And what's different about our shows is they're mostly very, very targeted. Only the the target client, and then the company that's right. So you got the vendors, the sponsors, the exhibitors, and then you got the attendees. And it's A and B. We don't really allow outsiders in. We're very, very strict with that, and that helps really retain its quality. So we got home care coming up. We've got Torah Masora educational conferences, one in November, one in December. We've got our nursing home shows in November. We have a design and architecture summit in December. Then we've got special ed and ABA in January, along with our nonprofit called .org. It's for nonprofits. That's in partnership with charity.com. And then we've got real estate and Kosher Palooza.
Right, you have the food show, right? You branched out into food.
The Kosher Palooza is our favorite baby.
It's a great show. It's a great show.
Yeah, I mean, it's our only consumer show, and it's a fun show. But it almost like it takes more effort and energy than a lot of the other shows. So it's definitely a challenging one.
Well, because aside from dealing with vendors, you also have to worry about kosher certification, and you have to worry about regulations that meet the standards of the venue that you're in.
Yeah, you got to deal with a lot of the logistics, more than usual logistically. It's a consumer show, so it's not like you have a target of like I'm working on a nursing home show now, and I have a very specific target of these vendors that go to nursing home shows, these attendees that own nursing homes, and I can do direct outreach. Kosher Palooza is like a concert. It's just like you got to advertise, and you got to just hope people show up.
Right.
So
right.
that's a
because
big.
You have to get good food vendors too.
You got to get good vendors. Yeah, I mean, now we're exploring where that goes as a brand, because it's really just a Jewish culture brand. It's Judaica. It's anything fun, kosher, and Jewish really should be part of that show. So it's something that's evolving.
Now,
sure.
Part of the problem is that a lot of people like to have a Manhattan venue, but Manhattan venue like the Jacob Javits is super expensive. So I think you and some of the other are forced to go to New Jersey for the most part. Not
well, yeah, I would say that for us, I would say solid 50% of our attendees from most of our conferences are not in New York City itself, right? They're either upstate, Lakewood, right? Other, North Bergen, and then they fly in, right? So no one really and then the New York people aren't really from Manhattan so much, right? Besides our real estate, we've got a lot of people in Manhattan, but otherwise it's Brooklyn, it's five towns. People don't like going to the city. Parking, it's very hard to go to the Javits Center. So we, for those reasons, we don't explore, Manhattan venues or Brooklyn venues. We try to find something, somewhat central New Jersey that works best for most.
I mentioned you do 10 different events a year. Are you planning to branch out into a different industry that you haven't covered yet? And
I mean, we're always exploring. We're always exploring new shows. We've got probably 5, 6 on the back burner in some stage of development. So eventually we could either cut everything and keep 4, or have 30. But there's nothing holding us back.
Terrific. For the growth. I'd love to see, you're I guess the father of these Jewish business expos that are out there. So continue success. If people want to learn more about POWWOW events, how can they do so?
POWWOWEvent.com, I guess.
And look for the coffee
POWWOWEvent.com.
mug.
Sorry, the coffee mug. Yeah, it's somewhere. It's always there around somewhere. But yeah, I
And
mean, we're accessible. People can reach us.
Joel Wolh, the CEO of POWWOW, the one rate of 10 events during the year.
I should say, I always
Yeah.
forget to give credit because, you know, I'm talking about the company, not really about myself. But either way, I've got a couple of great partners in POWWOW, and then we've got partners in other shows, and we work with a lot of great people. So it really is a team effort, everything that we do, and nothing happens without a chef. We see that daily.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
So
with the show, with the Kosher Palooza, of course, you've partnered with Fleischig magazine. Great to
Fleischig's and Man Sales, the best.
Man Sales, they're terrific, right? They call
They're
themselves.
amazing.
They changed the name from Man Sales recently.
Oh, they didn't tell me.
Okay, but
They're
they're a
amazing.
wonderful
Yeah.
company. And Morty is wonderful to work with at the company. Anyway, Joel,
Zach,
thank you.
Morty, all great. Thank you. Thank
Thanks
you.
for joining us. Looking at
Appreciate you.
Jewish business, the growth of Jewish business conferences and expos.
Appreciate you, Zev.
Thank you for tuning in to Talkline with Zev Brenner, America's premier Jewish broadcast, the pulse beat of the Jewish community.
For continuous Jewish programs, TalklineNetwork.com, or our 24-hour-a-day listen line at 641-741-0389. For past shows, you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, YouTube, Instagram, and all major podcast platforms, or jewishpodcast.org. Thanks for listening to the TalklineNetwork.com.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
That was great. Thank you.
Yes, I'll send you a link. Let's be on YouTube, and it'll be on radio tonight between 8 and 9 o'clock.